Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and haunted entertainment industry. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. Not that we believe there are any plain aficionados of the haunt industry. You're all special snowflakes, unique in your own ways. Anyways, we are back, and it is a new year.
It is.
We avoided making any see you next year jokes last podcast because we didn't want to get beat up.
Well, yeah, that, and, it was so long ago.
Yes.
We kind of didn't plan it.
Yeah, we kind of forgot. But anyways, real fast, just to get the arbitrary stuff out of the way, do definitely check us out at HauntWeekly.com. We're on Haunt Weekly on Facebook, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, and you can also go to tinyurl.com/HauntWeekly for our YouTube channel, where you can trivially find all of our past episodes. It's easier finding it there than in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and all the places that we're available, and other fine podcasts are distributed.
Right.
All right. Well, yes, it is a happy, happy, happy new year. Hope your 2018 is looking bright. If you were hoping for some kind of 2017 retrospective, we did our 2017 season back in episode 101. Just play that one again. It'll probably fill your void pretty nicely.
Yeah.
As far as 2018, we may do a 2018 look ahead type thing later. We really haven't been talking because, as you said, we've been kind of busy with other things.
Right.
We've been traveling, you had your oral surgery.
Right.
Which, by the way, as we can all tell by Crystal's voice sounding exactly like Crystal, it went well.
Yes.
She is slightly less wise than she once was. At least that's what the dentist is telling me.
Well, he told me that you said I was back to my grumpy old self within days.
And I did.
So, yes, he told on you.
Yes, he did, and I'm fine with that. That's fine by me. I had a feeling that might get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, look, with the new year, we're just 11 days away from when you can see me giving talks at HAuNTcon.
Wow.
Hell of a transition, I know. Well, we just said I got ratted out, so there was nothing else for me to sneak in. I mean,
not really, no.
You kind of went on the whole plot line I had going there.
Well, this is why we don't discuss plot lines for the show.
Plot pre-planning? What's that?
Yeah.
Oh God, what were we talking about? Oh yes, but yes, HauNTcon is coming up, and we will be there.
Right.
I will be speaking 2 sessions. First is how to make a website that sells your haunt. That'll be Friday, January 12th at 3:30 to 4:30. And then copyright and trademark for haunters all the way on Sunday, January 14th, 9 to 10. I hope to see many of you at those sessions. I hope that you find them interesting and engaging. I know the copyright and trademark talk went well at HauNTcon, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Went really, really well there. People really seem to love it and get a lot out of it. Not a lot of new information, so if you saw it previously, feel free to come to the other one. I've got 2.
Or come to this one and ask your questions, because you should know your questions.
Yeah, you should be a little more wise now, exactly. So, hey, but definitely looking forward to having you guys there, looking forward to meeting you. And like I said, we're still trying to find a time and place we can all hang out. We're talking with a couple of people.
Right.
So yeah, we're hoping we're able to get everyone together to hang out and chill and maybe show our tiny little haunt. Yeah. Among the other things. So it should be fun.
Speaking of hanging out, we really enjoyed hanging out with Lindsay, a listener of the podcast and local haunter, this weekend. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And so if any of you haunter types are coming to New Orleans for any reason, not just HauNTcon.
Yes.
But HauNTcon's a good reason.
Yeah.
But if you're coming to New Orleans, let us know. We might be able to meet up and say hi.
Yep.
Maybe even do an interview for the podcast if you're so inclined.
Yeah.
In-person interviews do go a little bit smoother, I have to admit.
They do.
You remove that layer of text. Even though Google Hangouts is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a layer of tech.
Well, it's not only removing the layer of tech, but whenever you're in the same room with someone, you can see when they want to speak.
Yeah.
And you can't do that through a computer monitor if you don't have the cameras on, which we never do.
No. Well, we never do because we need to conserve bandwidth.
Right.
I mean, because we got to have clear audio.
Exactly.
So that, and we're usually like naked or something. I don't know.
We are not.
Okay, that's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
That way, everyone that does a podcast with us via Skype will be much more at ease.
Hi, James.
Oh, God. Anyway, maybe we should do conference reminders and get out of this intro as quickly as we can. All right, everyone. Okay, should I kick off this week, or is it your turn?
I'll kick off.
Okay, go for
it. January 12th through the 15th, HauNTcon Halloween and Party Expo, which Jonathan was just talking about, in New Orleans at the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. They will be touring Rise Haunted House, both lights on and lights off tours, the Museum of Death, Demented Design Factory, escape rooms at the mortuary, and a lights on tour of the mortuary.
Yes.
And includes a Bourbon Street pub crawl.
Now, guys, we have a bit of an update here. We were on Bourbon Street, which is something we do not do that much anymore. But we were actually on Bourbon Street ahead of the meeting with Lindsay.
Right.
We stopped by Bourbon Street. It looks like crap.
Yeah, there's still a lot of construction going on down there.
I'll say it did not look as bad as I had feared.
No, and apparently, according to the bartender at Bar Moncher, it's a lot better than it was just a month ago.
Yeah.
So maybe
basically right now, because if you're doing a Bourbon Street pub crawl or any activity on Bourbon Street that is not Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop,
right,
you're going to probably be in the first 7 or 8 blocks.
Yeah.
Ish. It's approximate. I admit I'm not sitting here counting the blocks in my head.
No,
but from Canal, the first 7 or 8 blocks, those are the ones under construction.
Right.
And right now the sidewalks are torn to hell. The street looks really nice.
Yeah.
The street looks actually really nice.
Yeah, the middle of the street is passable, but it is a tight squeeze for large groups.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind if you go on this crawl. They do all the bars are open. There is access to them.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it's via gangplank and go over the gaping hole in the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But you can get into any bar you wish.
Exactly. And you can find out more at HauNTcon.com.
Yes, I stepped on the toes on that
That's
one.
That's okay.
All right, after that, in Chicago, Illinois, March 1st through 3rd, it's the Maze Chicago Corn Party at the Chicago Marriott Southwest at Burr Ridge, touring Coupler's Family Farm, Genomac Orchard, Gobbert's, and more. Places TBA. Learn more at The Maze, that's THEMAIZE.com.
Okay, March 22nd through the 25th. It's Transworld's Halloween and Attraction Show in St.
Mothership.
Louis.
Oh, wrong podcast.
In St. Louis, Missouri at the America Center. Pre-convention bus tour visiting Nashville Nightmare and Talon Balls offers a voodoo soiree on Saturday night. You can find out more about that at the HAShow, HAASHOW.com.
We've been listening to a lot of Jim Cornette in the car, so
yeah, we've mentioned that on a few podcasts.
So that's almost becoming a reflex.
Well, yeah, and especially since we just got back from a 10-hour drive, you know.
That's a lot of Jim Cornette.
That is a lot of Jim Cornette.
I love Jim Cornette, but that's a lot of goddamn Jim Cornette.
It is.
All right. After that, April 13th through the 15th in Portland, Oregon, it's the West Coast Haunters Convention at the Doubletree Hotel, Portland. It includes after the West Coast Haunters Convention Film Festival that will include a surprise selection of movies. Learn more at HauntersConvention.com.
Yes. And then May 18th through 20th, Halloween Show and National Haunters Convention presents Halloween Boardwalk Empire.
We're going to abbreviate that crap.
It's going to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Showboat Convention Center features zombie volleyball, a hearse show, and a costume ball, and much, much more. Yep. Find out more at HalloweenShow.com.
And after that, we have the Midwest Haunters Convention, May 25th through 27th in Columbus, Ohio, at the Greater Columbus Convention Center, featuring a masquerade party, a zombie walk, and a pre-convention bus tour with Haunts TBA. Learn more at MidwestHauntersConvention.com. And that is our conference lineup this week. We're going to be reshuffling the conference lineup after HauNTcon is done, and we have a little time to focus and go through. Absolutely. I got talks to prepare, man.
Yeah. I've seen you prepare talks.
Especially ones where the presentation's already done.
Yeah, you just have to update it. And
do some updates and go do a couple dry run-throughs, really.
Right.
But anyways, this week we're doing something a little different. We're talking about a video game.
Yes.
What? You're not a video game podcast. But we talked about other elements of pop culture. We talked about other video games at one point.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was episode what, do you know?
22.
22. Whoa, way back. Okay. So it's been, 100 episodes, almost 100 episodes since we did that. I guess it's time to revisit it. But yes, we are not a video game podcast, and we do talk about the intersection of haunting and pop culture, especially in situations where we think haunts might have something they can learn.
Right. And we actually learned about this video game on a Haunters Hangout.
Yes.
Because they were giving out the promotion code.
I think it was Brett Hayes again doing this.
Probably.
I think it was. I don't hold me to that. I may be miscrediting, but I seem to remember it was him.
Yeah.
He's like the person I recognize the most in there these days.
One of the most active.
Yeah, one of the most active, and I seem to get alerts for his stuff. But anyways, yes, we are talking about a video game because we think this is a game haunters could benefit from playing. Now, here's the thing. We're playing by the rules of Extra Credits, the YouTube series.
Right.
Which, if you've never seen Extra Credits, the YouTube series, and if you're interested in video games, check it out.
Yeah.
It's probably the best conversation about video games you're ever going to find. Basically, you got 3 experts, designers, artists, and things, experts on video games, talking about the art of video game. Like, we talk about the art of haunting, they talk about the art of video games.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, except they're like professionals and get paid for this.
Yeah, and they do like videos with animation and drawing. Yeah,
there's a little difference.
Basically, we're nothing like them. We just like them.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the point of the matter is, we're playing this by their rules, which is when they recommend games, they're not necessarily guaranteeing it's a good game.
Right.
They're guaranteeing it's an interesting, useful, or productive game.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. In fact, we're going to discuss some of the things that we didn't like in this game. Just for all transparency, because this isn't necessarily meant to be a complete glowing review of Layers of Fear.
Right.
But it's meant to be an honest, in-depth discussion about the game and how haunters might, what haunters might learn from it and how they might learn from it.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right, and so, but why are we doing it on this game in particular? Because there are many, many, many horror games out there. There's a whole huge genre, and you've got different types of horror. You've got action horror, survival horror. You've got all these different, area horror type video games. Why this one?
Yeah.
And of course, as we know, Layers of Fear to us is special for 3 separate reasons. First, it is a horror walking simulator. Now, the walking simulator is a genre that's been gaining popularity.
Right.
There's been a lot of these games on like Steam and so forth lately, and basically these are games that feature limited interactivity, but still constitute a game. They're more of an interactive story, but if you're going to compare it to another video game, I would say like Firewatch would be the game to compare it to, in that it's sort of a game where you are a participant in the story, but your actions are more predetermined.
Gotcha.
You're pushing the story along, your actions are doing it, but you are not really making what I would call relevant decisions in the story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also, to be clear for those who are new to video games, there is no death in this game.
Yeah, there is no death. Which is nice, you know.
You can play it and not worry about dying, losing your progress, whatever.
You can lose your progress.
Well, yeah, okay, there's one segment where
you have to get back to a certain thing over and over.
Yeah, okay, basically,
in order to save.
Yeah, that is the one tip I'm going to give right off the bat, is make sure you get back to the painting. That's where you save the game.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good point. But other than that, you can't, like, die and get thrown back a level.
No.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, as long as you finish a chapter, you're good.
The game, instead, simulates what I would consider a virtual haunted attraction.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, because it's basically from your customer's perspective. Yeah. Have you put you in the customer's mind, this is kind of what they would experience going through your place.
Hopefully.
Because
the game really focuses very heavily on the exploration and learning.
Yeah.
The second reason we're interested in it is there's a very limited use of jump scares. They do make a few appearances.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, they're in there. But the majority of the fear, the majority of the terror and the horror in the game does not come from it.
Right.
Instead, it uses a combination of psychological horror and environmental manipulation, which we will get to
Yes.
in a minute. That is a big part of why we're recommending this.
It is.
Sadly, there's also limited use of puzzles, but still, if you're running escape rooms, you might want to check out how they use puzzles and how they implement them, because A, I'm sure you can do better,
right.
and B, there are some interesting ideas for where and when to put the puzzles and how to structure them.
Yeah.
The puzzles themselves, we'll talk about it more in a minute, are not interesting.
Yeah.
But still, the location and the use of them
right.
is interesting, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, and the third is storytelling through haunting. This is kind of the big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
The game actually has a very detailed story.
Yes, it does.
And in fact, if you go on Wikipedia now, you can just spoil it all for yourself.
Yeah.
And see the whole goddamn thing laid out for you. But you have to discover it through gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
There's no prologue. There's no, none of that stuff that really help you jump
right.
into the story. The long story short is basically you have to discover what happened through the game itself. Now, they use two methods for telling you that story. One is by reading things that you find.
Right.
And the other is through in-room sequences.
Yeah.
And so the game, in that regard, rewards you for exploration, but still tells a pretty good story if you don't explore at all. If you don't read a single word.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So, what is the game and why should you play it? Now, the rule we're going to try here is we're going to attempt to keep it spoiler-free. I do plan to discuss a couple of sequences.
Yeah.
But I don't think without context, I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, probably not.
It's kind of a hard game to spoil.
Yeah.
Under the best of circumstances.
Yeah, and I will say that this is also a very easy entry-level game for people who aren't used to playing games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not a super complicated game, not a super involved one. You don't have to make split-second decisions.
Right, there are no, cut sequences that you have to figure out which button to push really fast.
Nothing like that. It's all more about, like I said, the exploration and doing it at basically your pace, pretty much.
Right.
If you want to barrel through this game and speedrun it, you can.
Yeah, but you'd miss a lot.
You would. That's why the game rewards you for exploration.
Yeah.
But yes, but basically...
We'll take a snail run at it.
Yeah. But yeah, Layers of Fear is basically a game about a tortured artist who returns to his house to finish his masterpiece.
Yeah.
However, almost immediately after arriving, things start to go wrong and go very, very weird. And questions begin to come up. Is it the house? Is it your mind? Is it both? And that's what you're trying to find out as you go through this game.
Right.
And like I said previously, it's a genre called the walking simulator game, which I don't know if I agree with the term, but it seems to be the industry standard term for this. Mm-hmm. Basically, you walk through the game, going from room to room, learning more about the story, and things happen mostly around you,
right.
not by you. Like I said, gameplay is limited, few puzzles, very few, if any, decisions of import. It's just more of an interactive story, but here's the thing, that makes it exactly like a haunted house or a haunted attraction.
Yeah, because when you're going through, you don't get a lot of choices for the path that you're going to go down, and you're, basically everything happens around you.
Yeah.
Occasionally to you, if you're in an extreme haunt, but mostly around you.
Yes, mostly around you, and the effects from that can be very, very startling and very dramatic.
Yeah, now, one of the things I want to mention is when we say that you're going through the house trying to figure out what happened, it's not only you, it is your character.
Yeah.
Because they seem to have amnesia.
Yes.
So.
And their memory is obviously not fully intact. For one reason or another, we won't spoil it.
Right.
His memory is, it is a him, I will say that much. You do learn that pretty early on.
Okay.
You're playing the husband.
Oh.
But the long and short of it is you do not know what happened.
Right.
Okay. So, running down what we liked really fast. One, we loved the storytelling in this.
Yeah.
We both have played through it once, for the record.
Right.
There are multiple ways you can play through it. We've only done it once. But the storytelling, like we said, is mostly through in-room events and notes.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're not going to leave notes scattered around your haunt.
Right.
But the in-room storytelling by itself is very, very good.
Yeah, but you could leave notes scattered around your escape room.
Yeah, absolutely. In a place where people have time to actually read things.
Right.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. That would definitely work better in an escape room. But you can also do notes in a haunt as long as they are things they can read as they're walking by. I think billboard notes.
Yeah, giant scrawled messages on the wall.
Yeah, you can definitely do that, but you're not going to leave like newspaper clippings.
No.
The story itself is disjunct. It is something that requires piecing together.
Yeah.
It is told somewhat linearly through the 6 chapters.
Right.
But it really... it feels a bit Pulp Fiction to me. In that it's a story out of order. It's definitely not as disjunct and not as out of order as like Pulp Fiction is. It's an example I keep going back to with disjointed stories.
Right.
But it is still not wholly linear either. It sits somewhere between those two. We like the fact that exploration is rewarded.
Yes.
And that is something that a lot of video games don't do very well.
Right.
A lot of video games you are invited to explore, and you might get more ammo, you might get more, more armor or whatever. But this game rewards you not with more stuff, but with more information.
Right. More story.
More story, and that's really, really cool, I think.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, this was probably the only video game I played where I really did look forward to and enjoy reading the clippings.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they were cool.
Usually when you ask me to read some text in a video game, I get mad.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this not being told at me a different way?
Right.
In this game, it makes sense. It's the appropriate method for conveying this information.
Yeah.
And as you go through the story, you understand why that's the case.
I'd agree with that.
But all in all, it's a genuinely disturbing story that is interesting and told pretty much exclusively with in-room events and the clippings, but without any or almost no narration or interactivity.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think haunts can definitely learn from, is that style of storytelling and ways to incorporate elements of it. I'm not saying, that's one thing I want to be clear on, I don't think either of us are saying that you should attempt to completely replicate this game in your haunt,
no.
or even replicate the experience. The
Yeah.
goal is to try to take elements of it that can work in a haunted attraction and put them to work in there.
Right.
The next element we liked, the manipulation, the environmental manipulation in particular.
Right.
This to me is the bulk of why this game is so interesting.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of spoilery.
Yeah, but it also begins happening in the very, very beginning.
Yeah, it does.
So it may be spoiling like the first 5 minutes of the game, 10 minutes of the game here.
Yeah.
But basically, the 3D environment is heavily manipulated by the game in ways that you cannot and will not predict.
Yes.
The rooms change as you enter them.
Yeah.
You will literally walk into a room, and then you'll turn, oh no, I didn't want to go into this room. You'll turn around to leave, and instead of finding a door or finding a locked door even,
right,
like the old cheesy, we lock the door behind you,
yeah.
Instead of even doing that, the room's just totally different.
Yeah.
You're in goddamn fantasy land. You'll go up, you'll look at a painting, the room behind you will change while you're looking at the painting.
Yeah.
It's very, very manipulative, and my personal favorite is when you'll make 3 rights in a hallway,
yeah,
and end up not back where you started.
Yeah.
End up somewhere totally different. So that's some Wonderland bull there, man. It's pretty interesting.
It is, and for people who visualize and map as they go in their brains, it's really interesting. Yeah. It's very disconcerting.
You're never sure of your surroundings, and you feel genuinely lost.
Yeah.
Basically, and also I liked how they had some rooms repeat. Like, often like 5 or 6 times in some cases, but with very subtle differences each time.
Yeah.
And those differences were critical to the story.
Yes.
Those differences were informative. They weren't just simply, mistakes, or they weren't simply, just to show that you're in a new room. They actually informed on the plot.
Right.
And here's the thing, some of this manipulation can be recreated in a haunt. Obviously, it's easier to do this in the digital world, where you can teleport players around and create custom 3D models and blah, 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 blah. But you can take some of these elements into a haunted house.
Right.
There's no reason, there's nothing stopping you from playing with this a little
Nope.
bit. So, yeah, some of this can be recreated. A few things we didn't like real fast, just because we want to make sure we're clear and upfront about the flaws of the game. One thing is there were not any interesting puzzles.
Nope.
Let's just be completely honest.
Yeah.
There were several puzzles. In fact, there were 6.
Uh-huh.
There's one for each a chapter of the game, if you'll call it that.
Right.
And none of them are interesting.
No.
Basically, they were all some variant of fine code, input code.
Yes.
Whether you're inputting it into a phone, or inputting it into a lock, or inputting whatever.
Right.
It was all fine code, input code. There really wasn't much steps
and it's
between
fairly
A and B.
obvious code, too.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't a lot between A and B here.
Right.
The puzzles were important, but they were not challenging, nor were they rewarding to solve.
Yeah.
Now, their placement and their application was important.
Yes.
I mean, they made it very obvious through very skilled means that if you did not solve this puzzle, you were not advancing.
Right.
And it actually upped the tension a little bit. And it did, in the way they played the puzzles did encourage the exploration.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I really think they could have and should have done more than simply get code, input code, lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
It felt like one of those really crappy escape rooms like we used to go to.
Yeah.
Well, you know the one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Where it seemed like all we were doing was find code, input code, find code, input code, find code, input code, find code, input code.
But, there's also the ones, I like this method better where at least I know where I'm inputting the code to instead of trying the code in 14 different locks.
Yeah, because you got like 8 4-digit locks sitting in the room. Oh, that was so rough.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, the puzzles are important, just not challenging and just not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like the endings. I speak for myself with these show notes. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I did not enjoy the endings. Long story short there, we both got the main / common and quote-unquote common ending.
Right.
There are 3 endings to the game, but the methods for getting the other 2 are just obtuse and convoluted. Basically, if you want them, you're going to have to look up a game guide on them.
Yeah.
Because the odds of pulling it off, like, randomly are so slim.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not exactly clear what you're trying to do to get those endings. And also, I didn't like the actual ending puzzle itself, the final one, because it's like we said, they'd been going from find code, input code. Then they did this big room at the very end,
Right.
where basically it's a find a needle in a haystack puzzle.
Yeah.
It's just not that. It wasn't interesting. It was frustrating, and I know I got stuck in that room, and not because I couldn't solve the puzzle.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find the object I was looking for.
Right.
And so yeah, the first few sequences are definitely the best. I would say the first 3 or 4 chapters, definitely the strongest.
Yeah.
But you're definitely going to want to finish the game if you get to that point to finish the story.
Right. Exactly.
So, but then to that end, it did feel to me like the game dragged on a little bit too long.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have known the rest of the story. Not that we really know it now.
Well, yeah, I read the Wikipedia on it, so I do know
okay.
it.
I have not.
I read the Wikipedia on it. I was curious about a few things.
Yeah.
I was actually looking up the alternate endings and how to get them, and they had the full story there.
Gotcha.
So, and then that's where I read the obtuse instructions, where I'm like, oh, Jesus, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I've got, like, Stick of Truth to play. I got other games to play, man. I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finally getting around to Stick of Truth. Mm-hmm. I know, I'm so modern, so hip and up on it. But yeah, so what can Haunters learn from this game? We got about 20 odd minutes left. I think that's a good amount of time for this exact discussion. Well, to me, the main thing was pathfinding.
Yeah.
This is something that I noticed in this game that I have never experienced in a haunted attraction, which is a feeling of genuinely being lost and confused in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Like, usually when I'm lost and confused in a haunt, it's because I'm about to walk into a bathroom or an actor run.
Right, exactly.
Not, oh crap, where am I? How the hell did I get here confused?
Yeah.
There's a difference between not knowing where to go and not knowing how you got there.
Right.
This game plays with not knowing how you got there.
Yeah.
You always know where to go, pretty much.
Yeah.
The path forward is usually pretty clear in this game.
Yeah.
There is some choice, and we'll discuss that in a minute.
Right.
But the path forward is usually very, very clear. You know what you need to do outside of maybe solving the puzzles.
Yeah, because there's always doorways and hallways and things to lead you to places.
Yeah, exactly. You usually only have one path forward, but where that path takes you, nobody knows. Grab your partner, do-si-do.
Yeah.
It's it's really, really interesting how confused you get about how you got somewhere, but still are sure about where to go. What's next?
Right.
So yeah, basically, like a good example of how this is done poorly in haunts is a lot of we've been to a handful of haunts where they've had you loop back into the same room through some deception.
Yeah.
Usually some kind of weird multi-doored abomination where the real exit is hidden.
Yeah.
It's I never like that sequence. I hate it when haunts do that because the thing about it is this: the path that you take to get back to the room is never long enough to confuse you.
No, it's not.
Like, I think it was Nightmare at 3008. They did that routine briefly.
Yeah, very briefly.
Yeah, and basically, you exit a room, you take a right, you take a right, you take a right, and of course you know after the third right, you're going back into that same room.
Yeah.
And guess what? We did. And it's like, okay, so now I'm being lied to, and I'm not getting a new room out of this.
Right.
Oh, you need to go, then they send you down a different path. And it's like, that sequence to me is more frustrating than fun.
Right.
But here in Layers of Fear, getting back to the same room, or a very, very similar room, is a genuinely trippy experience, because there's no goddamn way we walked into it.
Right. Yeah, and while it would be very difficult to do this in a small haunt, especially.
Yeah, small haunt I
don't think it's practical for. But a large haunt, you could do that.
No. You could have two rooms be so identical that you couldn't tell them apart at first blush.
Right.
And maybe have the subtle differences and whatever to tell the story.
Yeah.
And in fact, you can use the similarities in the two rooms as a means of setting up your startle, because now you've set up the expectation.
Right.
With the startle, you break that expectation. If in the first room the scare came from the left,
right,
then in the second room it better come from the right.
Yeah. Or above or below or somewhere.
Yeah. Basically, you know where they're going to be looking.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the last time that jackass jumped out from the closet there or whatever,
right,
then you hit him from the other side.
Right.
You can play with that. But it is also very genuinely disconcerting, because I can only imagine the way it would feel to be in a haunted attraction, to have walked fundamentally a straight line.
Yeah.
Or on average a straight line, and then end up in an identical room.
Yeah.
That would be really, really messing with me.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what happens in Layers of Fear repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this would be difficult, A, due to space constrictions, but also just due to the sheer difficulty of getting two of everything.
Right.
I mean, I know we like making stuff, but yeah, making two of every prop, every bed, every painting, every...
Yeah, or at least close enough.
Yeah, at least close enough would be very, very time-consuming, but it could be a very interesting effect, and it is not something I have seen at any haunted attraction I've been to.
No, probably for the reasons you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Now, I have seen demos online of, like, elevators and things.
Yes.
Where you pull people into the elevator and you slide a panel and they walk out a different pathway.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that they could have moved or gone to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see that working with doorways. Like, if people walked into a room as they're walking away from the doorway, you know, flip a switch or something and have the path behind them change. So walk into a closed room.
Yeah, my thought about that is, how the hell does that work with fire code?
Yeah, I know.
But still, yeah, ideas like that can be very, very compelling, because basically people know, and we actually have the next podcast planned out.
Yeah.
We're doing something about aphantasmic people, because we learned about this phenomenon recently,
yeah.
and we learned our girlfriend is one.
Yes.
And this is a much interesting conversation in the house. most people visualize and map out at least their last few actions
Right.
in a haunted house or anywhere they've been.
Yeah.
You close your eyes, you can picture the last few rooms you went through and the path you took through it.
Right.
So you can at least get an overhead image of that section.
Yeah.
When you mess with that people's ability to self-map, it's a very different kind of unsettling than what you normally get.
Yeah. Yeah. For people without.
Well, that's why we'll talk about that next week. But still, it's a very, very interesting concept, and it's not. I've seen when haunts have tried to do it with me in the past, it has never worked, at least for me.
Yeah.
Because they've always looped me back into the same room in a painfully obvious way.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't work because I know I'm walking into the same room before I open the door.
Right.
It's pitifully obvious what you've done.
Yes. Our mapping skills are good.
At least good enough to get the last 20 linear feet,
Yeah.
Basically. But yeah, this is an effect I think could be recreated in a haunt. It would take some work, but it could be recreated to great effect.
Right.
All right. The second thing I think haunters can learn: illusion of choice.
Mm-hmm.
There are several places in Illusion of Fear where it looks like you have choice.
Yeah.
You come into a hallway. It's like a crisscross hallway.
Right.
One door is obviously blocked off.
Yeah.
Can't go behind you.
Nope.
But you have two doors that are open.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the secret is the game doesn't actually care.
Yeah.
There is no real choice. Either way, you're just moving forward. Mm-hmm. But it gives you that illusion of choice. Now, typically speaking, we don't like it when customers have a great deal of choice in a haunt.
Right.
It slows them down. It makes them ponder their decision. But here's the thing. If you can give them a clear path forward and give them the illusion of choice, it can recreate, without the uncertainty of, is this the right way or is this the right way? Make it clear both are the right way somehow.
Right.
That can make the haunt more revisitable. People might want to see what's on the other side. Now they might be disappointed when you realize it's the illusion of choice.
Right.
Because I can imagine doing the crisscross hallway like I described, and have the two doors at 90 degrees, and have them both funneling in the hallways that just kick into the same room.
Yeah. Well, and we actually did see the illusion of choice at 13th Gate years ago.
Oh God, way back, yeah. When they did the above or below sequence.
Exactly.
Or the foam and the crawling.
Exactly, the foam.
I call it above and below because I think the foam was meant to resemble clouds.
Yeah.
That was my artistic interpretation of it.
I think that's fair.
I'm pretty sure Dwayne's sitting there going, the hell are you talking about?
yeah, but, foam room or coffin.
Yeah, or the crawling through the crematorium, I think it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then they all funnel right back to the same place.
Yeah.
But you can do an illusion of choice as long as it's clear that both paths are the correct way and it doesn't hurt, the forward motion of your customers.
Right. And in that sequence at 13th Gate, we did want to go back and try the other way, and we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because here's the thing, that illusion of choice not only, though, encourages the revisitability, but also makes it a bit more realistic.
It does.
Your house doesn't have just one way to go.
Right.
I hope not. Dear God, getting to the bathroom in the middle of the night must be terrifying if it is. Woo, doggy. Okay, well, I've got to go through the living room to go to...
Be like being in that suite.
Oh, God. The suite we stayed at a suite in St. Louis with some very interesting design choices.
Yeah.
The big one being that the communal bathroom was inside the private bedroom.
Yep. Well, semi-private.
So, yeah, because the door wouldn't...
Yeah.
The door wouldn't latch. Oh, God. I'm starting to think some of you haunters built it.
It's not
We'll make the doors deliberately not latch for fire code purposes.
Well, that actually makes sense. Okay.
But it will look like it latches.
Yeah. So they'll sit there frustrated for 15 minutes.
Trying to shut the door. Well, it's bad. Okay, and
we'll put the blackout curtains in the living room and not the bedroom.
Yes, that's a bad one, too. Well, no, but, the door thing's frustrating for me for a simple reason. I admit I have a problem shutting doors.
Yes.
I haven't. This is a known and confirmed problem. Doors behind me just don't latch, it seems.
Right.
Whether it's me or the phantoms that follow me or whatever, doors behind me don't latch. I get that. So I walk into the private room, shut the door, it pops open. I shut the door, it pops open. I shut the door, it pops open. I shut the door, it pops open. And at this point, I know it's not me, because I'm like slamming. It's got a latch. It's got a hole for the latch. The two are in different zip codes, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. What was it? We're talking about something.
Layers of fear.
Layers of fear and illusion of choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, it's something that, like, the illusion of choice idea is something considered in small doses to give your haunt a little revisitability. Visitability? I guess that's how you're going to say it.
It's close enough. It's good.
but basically, add a little more realism. But yeah, it's important to find ways to do it that doesn't hurt your throughput.
Yeah.
And finally, storytelling. Mm-hmm. This is where the game really shines. We talk all the time about haunting as a storytelling medium.
Right.
And we talk about how we've seen certain haunts do it well, and we've seen certain haunts have not done it well, and how we try to do it. But the problem is haunts are tied to a physical location.
Right.
Unless you can go to one of those haunts and see it, you're not going to get what we're talking about. This is a version of it you can download today and play and see it firsthand.
Right.
Now, like I said, the story, I think the bulk of the information, if you do heavy exploration, comes from things you read.
Yeah.
But if you don't explore, you will still get the story through the in-room events.
Yes, you will.
Some of it is told through symbolism. Some of it is told very directly and bluntly that way.
Yeah.
But it's all done in your presence.
Right.
It's all done around you. And one of the things I like is how they use the background sounds, because the game doesn't have a soundtrack over that I could discern.
Yeah.
Not a real one, anyway. But they use background sounds over visual events to tell a story.
Yeah.
There's one thing, like these are the random sequences we're discussing without any context.
Yeah.
There's a creepy bathroom and a woman crying is in the background.
Yeah.
There's no woman in the room, no person in the room.
No.
But you can hear her crying and hear the water dripping, and you can piece together what happened pretty quickly. In another sequence, there's a fire. You hear a baby crying over it.
Yeah.
You can figure out what's going on there. It tells a very simple narrative using just visuals and symbols.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure that if you were in a haunt and you had, the flame lights going and you had the smell of smoke and the crying in the background, that would all, work out pretty well.
Yeah. It's a very, very interesting way to tell a narrative. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. The way they're able to do it in the game is through proper pacing.
Yes.
This isn't a game that is trying to scare you every 2 minutes.
Nope.
There are stretches of this game I would consider boring. Now, I'm not saying do that in your haunt.
Yeah.
But the idea is this. They're not trying to hit you every millisecond. There's not attack, 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 attack. It's build up, build up, build up, attack. And when it does attack, it's often more of a deep, unsettling fear rather than a startle. And we're very big on distract and startle. We need those scares. But if you're always trying to startle and you don't allow the customer any time to soak in the story, to understand what's going on, to interpret, to sort of get settled into the environment, A, your startles become less effective, but they also carry less away.
Right.
And this game is an excellent example of how pacing can work. Slower pacing can work to make your scares more effective and to do storytelling in the haunt.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine if this game had been all attack, 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 how little we would have gotten?
Yeah, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah. I don't think we would, because basically we would not have gotten the story. We would not have gotten anything about it.
Right.
And the reason is just because we'd be too distracted by all the startles.
Yeah, and if you're going to get lots of startles, you get that, okay, what do I have to do to get out of here so that they don't keep popping me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're here, the pacing of it encourages exploration, it encourages thought, it encourages understanding.
Right.
It's just it's a very different experience.
Yeah, and to me, that heightened when, because there are places when that something's about to happen. That jump startle is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So you start frantically looking for whatever it is you have to find to get out of there.
Yeah.
But in the end, I don't know that it mattered.
No, I don't think it does.
Because you just got to let it happen.
Yeah. When it comes to storytelling through a non-traditional medium,
Yeah.
this game does it probably the best. And it uses that pacing to its advantage, and it uses its surroundings to its advantage.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I think haunters, we kind of get wrong. And I think we get it wrong too, honestly.
Yeah.
Is we use our sets, our designs, as a backdrop for our scares.
Yeah.
Not as part of the actual story.
Right.
And that's what Layers of Fear does really well.
Yeah. Now that may be next year's.
Yeah, maybe.
Next year's, though, is an interesting concept.
Yes, yes. But in the end, I do think that this is a game every haunter should play.
Yeah.
Even if you're not that into video games.
Yeah.
It's a game that's easy to pick up and play. Like we said, there's no death in the traditional sense of the word.
Right.
You know,
the controls are easy.
There's no lives to worry about, no quick time events.
Right.
If you've never played a video game before in your life, especially a 3D one, this actually is not a bad place to start because you can master the WASD controls and the mouse movement.
And that's WASD for movement.
Yeah. You can master all that stuff, or I think it's also available on like PlayStation 4 and whatnot too.
Yeah, and the controller works with it also.
Yes.
On
so you
PC.
can use a controller if you want, but yeah, it's a game that you can take your time and learn. You don't have to sit there. Oh wow, it is on every goddamn thing.
Yeah.
It's on Linux.
Oh wow.
Crap. It's on Linux, Microsoft Windows OS X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. So if you've got something capable of playing video games, period, you have access to this game.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it does a really, really good job with that. It has some very interesting horror mechanics, and it's a great place to get some ideas for both haunt layout and construction, as well as haunt images you can include in your haunt.
Right.
There are a couple of rooms I remember going through it where it's like, wow, that needs to be an actual room in a haunt.
Right.
It's that level of unsettling because it is set mostly in an old house, but the house, through the game and through the story, is in various conditions.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, even though it's all a house,
yeah,
pretty much, you get a lot of variety in the condition and the status of the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, while the game I do think is flawed, I want to say even deeply flawed by the time you get to the end.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect experience. Don't expect one. It's still worth playing. It's still worth experiencing. And since we're in that off season, we're all trying to generate ideas.
Yeah.
You know, just saying, throwing this one out there is something to do. Now, here's the best part of all. We got you back on this one. We're posting this on the 1st. Happy New Year again.
Yes, Happy New Year.
For the next few days, I think it's January 4th is the cutoff.
Right.
The game is on sale 75% off on Steam.
Yes.
It is $5. It's normally $20. And $20 is not a bad deal. And by the way, you can get it in the expansion pack for $6.67. Because it couldn't be $6.66.
Of course not.
But anyways,
that would have been too perfect.
But anyways, it's all 75% off. I've not played the expansion pack, actually. I don't know if I'm really interested in doing the expansion pack.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to have to think about it. I may come back to it after some more time. I may do a follow-up on that. But long and short of it is, it's $5 on Steam right now. We were very fortunate, thanks to the Post on Hunters Hangout. We got a copy for free.
Yes.
But come on, $5. That's pretty much as good as free.
It is.
For a game. And like I said, you will definitely get... I think we both got about 10 to 12 hours gameplay out of it.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see what Steam says.
Yeah.
But I think it was somewhere in that range in terms of gameplay. So you definitely will get your money's worth out of it for $5 especially. Well, honestly, this is a game I think you should just check out. It's an interesting game. It teaches some very cool things that can be applied to haunts. And I do hope to see more of these walking simulator horror games.
Yeah.
Because I'm very interested to see the way video game designers tackle the challenges that we haunters face every day.
Yeah.
And yes, they have all these advantages. They live in a digital world. They can build whatever, whenever, through whatever. And it's super easy. They can teleport people around and mess with people in ways we can't. But they still have to overcome a lot of the same challenges, like storytelling without much interactivity,
right,
and things like that. How they approach it might help us. So I'm going to keep an eye open for more games like this and see what I can find. And if you have any suggestions for games like this, if we are unaware of one, please let us know. We are Haunt Weekly on Twitter and Haunt Weekly on Facebook. Drop us a message, leave us a comment, let us know if you have a game that you think is similar to this that we should try. We will definitely give it a shot, especially if it's available on either Steam or PS4. Those are the systems we have handy.
Right.
Very happy and very eager to try more games in this genre because, hey, it's idea season for Haunts, so let's just make some ideas.
Sounds good.
On that note, everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this has been Haunt Weekly, episode 109, looking at Layers of Fear. We will see you guys next time.